Well, hello everybody. Jennifer Ferguson here. And yeah, normally I'm not on this early during the day, but I had some time where I could come back here and work on a project and share that with you guys. So thought I'd just go ahead and take what time I had, and hopefully some of you can actually join me here. And yes, this is crazy. I'm wearing white. I don't know why I thought I could come back here and paint. So we'll see how messy I get. Hopefully I stay kind of neat because I kind of like this shirt. It's new, okay? So to get started with, I don't know if you guys all know, I have a complete line of flower pot stencils, okay? So these are stencils that are cut a little bit different to make this whole process easier. And not only are they great on flower pots, I'm grabbing one here, okay? So sorry about that. That's why I'm looking down, okay? Not only are they great on flower pots, but they're also great for anything that is tapered in shape. So the stencils themselves, okay, I'm gonna hold them up here, are cut on this little curve, okay? So they're curved top and bottom, so they wrap around the tapered shape a lot easier than any other kind of stencil. So if you've ever tried to take a regular stencil that was cut, that was triangle or square, and try to wrap it around something that's tapered, you probably cut it up, okay? Because it was going to be a pain in the ass, okay? And that's what really got me going on these. And I designed them years ago, but they are so much fun. And not only are they great for doing terracotta pots, anything that's tapered in shape, so we've done them on lampshades, but they really work great on furniture because there's a lot of smaller elements, okay? And the smaller elements just make them a great stencil for doing on like chair legs, or if you've got small little drawers, or you just want to scatter a little pattern, they're fabulous. So they have a section for the base as well as a section for the rim. So you get two different little stencils together in one design. So there's always a design pattern for the base and a design pattern for the rim. Okay, so we're going to kind of get started here. Tell you what I got going, okay, how I do all this. Sorry, my elbow hurts. It hurts a little bit to pick this darn thing up, okay? So basically, I really am just starting with some good old terracotta pots. And my absolute favorite size is the 8.5 fern, okay? And I think it's just referred to as a fern. Fern or azalea pot, okay? So it's 8.5 inches, and it's shorter than a lot of the taller pots. And then I always grab the saucer to go with it because these are fun to paint as well. And it's just referred to as an 8-inch saucer, okay? So you've got this to work together, okay? And then there's more embellishing that I like to do. I think if you guys have seen me before do any of this, you know I like to even put some feet, okay, on the bottom of the pots. They're actually like little ball knobs, but I call them feet. So thank you guys for joining me. I see Paula and Sherry on, and say hi when you guys get on here so I know you're around. Okay, so the first thing that I love to do, if I'm going to use, like, you know, or maybe I don't even know what paints I'm going to use, but a lot of times I'm using the Americana acrylics or any of your craft acrylics, which I know you guys all have tons of craft acrylics probably hanging around. I always prime the pots first, okay? So this was primed with just gesso, but it's great because it kind of soaks into the flower pot and neutralizes the background, so then it's easier to paint any other color without the terracotta kind of influencing. So this one's all primed and ready to go with whatever color choices you might have. Oh, I got a couple of people on here saying hello. Hi, Teresa, and hi, Terry. Thanks for joining. And then I've got one that I kind of started and I never finished, so I figured I would go ahead and work on this one. And get this one finished, paint it, and show you guys kind of how I do some of the painting. Okay, so what are we going to paint with today? I'm actually going to paint with DIY paint. And this is their chalk paint. And you really don't have to prime underneath this one because this being a chalk, clay, and mineral-based paint, it adheres really well, and I feel because it's got the clay in it, I just don't have to prime first. So I'm going to go straight out of the jar. And you guys can actually see, like I'm going to start at this one, but you can still see that there's terracotta I didn't prime. So I'm mainly priming if I'm going to go to the acrylics, okay, the craft acrylics. So I just kind of feel like they don't cover as well. And so I want to definitely get a primer underneath. So gesso is all I use. Okay, my color here, looks like I've had this jar for a little while. Okay, I'm almost to the very, very bottom, and the color is crinoline. So I'm just gonna squirt a little bit of water in here, you guys, because it's really, really thick. So I'm just using a water, just a little spray bottle. Oops, I just hit one of my other brushes. Okay, I gotta pull my other brushes out of here. Gosh, how did I do that? I had the brush in my hand that had a tiny bit of paint, and I really hit 3 brushes at once, okay? Gosh, talk about being messy. I probably should go change my clothes, you guys. That's crazy. Why do I think I'm gonna paint like this? So I'm gonna move the camera down a little bit so you guys can see what I'm working on. Ooh, I can tell I need to tighten that up, okay? And hopefully that you guys can see me pretty good here. And I'm just going to go ahead and, oops, this is a slightly different color. Oh, well, maybe, who knows. All of the DIY paints, they dry lighter than they are when they're wet. So I'm not sure if this was the color I started with or not, because it is showing lighter, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and paint the whole thing again and get a good coat on here. And I think I'm going to squirt a little bit more water in there and just try to revive what I have left, okay? There's so many things that you can do with the DIY paint. So there's times people are leaving the jars off on purpose to let the paints get a little bit thicker. And then there's times where you can just add a little bit of water and liven those up so they paint a little smoother, okay? If you guys got questions as I'm going, please feel free to post, okay? So for those of you that are looking forward to like a 4th of July party, or you've got so many different events and stuff during the summer, these are great as gifts. They're wonderful to have at your barbecues and things. I use napkins and stick rolls in them. We've used them. There's probably one in every bathroom around my house that has like a collection of all your bathroom stuff, okay? It's got my hairbrushes and all my different things I put my hair up with, and they're just a great little catch-all, okay? Because I don't have the greenest of thumbs, nor do I have time to water plants all the time, so I don't normally plant in them very often, okay? Just pulling out, there's a little bit of a dried piece in there I wanted to pull out. And I'm just brushing back and forth, just trying to smooth things out so that my painting is definitely smoother. And then you can see that I'm bringing the color up onto the rim section a little bit because it's going to be easier to cut one straight line instead of trying to cut 2 lines. So if I bring it up and over, then I can paint the rim and just try to get a straight edge as I'm painting the rim, and I'll be painting over the color that I brushed up higher, okay? So you want to let this sit upside down and then completely dry, and then we'll critique it once it's dry and determine if I need to go ahead and put another coat on or not, okay? So I've got enough in here. I think I still got enough left, you guys. barely, but hey, it's good till the last drop, okay? So I'm going to wait till that's completely dry and decide if I need to put another coat on. And you know, there was always, we talked about this past week when we were doing lives, okay? I had a group of my retailers here, and we were talking about doing lives and how no matter how organized we try to be and gather everything we could possibly need for that live, we always forget at least one thing, okay? So I forgot a water tub for my brushes. So let's see, what can we improvise with, okay? Is there anything I can stick this brush in with a little bit of water? Maybe, okay. Jennifer has tons of little tubs sitting around, okay? And I'm just gonna use some of my water from another spray bottle, okay? Pour that into this little plastic container and make sure at least my brush is not getting all dried out. because that's just not really good for your brushes. The other thing too I'd like to share with you guys, when I'm soaking my brushes in water, I'm trying to only have the water up to the top of the bristles. I don't have the water like, you know, halfway up here and that your ferrule and your handle are underwater, because I'll guarantee you, if you soak them in that much water and they soak in there for a long time, you guys are going to ruin your brushes, okay? They can't, the ferrule area is the metal area, and if that just gets soaked with a lot of water, I'll guarantee you're going to start ruining them quickly. So just soak the bristles in some water. That'll keep that wet until I get back to it. Okay, well, let's see how neat and clean I can be. So far, we're not doing too good, okay? I got paint on my hands. And like I said, and I'm wearing a white shirt. Okay, now I can throw all these other brushes that I happen to accidentally get paint on, and I'll throw those in the water tub. So hopefully those will all be fine. Okay, so this one here, I had started, and obviously I decided to change colors. So I'm gonna paint over the rim again and change color to something that kind of speaks to me right now. This is kind of like a green mint color, and I'm gonna do one of my favorite colors on here, and I'm gonna do Old 57, okay? The other thing, when you're painting the rims, okay, I have a tendency to always use my artist paintbrushes, okay? I just feel really comfortable with these. I feel that I can cut a nice line. They lay the paint down really smooth. But I have a tendency to grab a newer one, okay, when I'm trying to cut a straight edge, instead of one of mine that's kind of worn and more on fluffy, okay, where this one here is definitely newer. I'm gonna be able to cut a better edge with it. So that's about the only thing I'll figure out when I'm trying to pick the right brush for my project. And the other option is to use like a foam brush, okay? Some people are better off using the foam brush, and they just feel that they can control this a little bit better. And whatever ends up working for you guys, that's what you want to use. Again, I see a few more people popping on here, you guys. Thank you for joining me. So hello, Laura, and I think I saw Maury even. And oh yes, okay, we're having what we call a hot flash. So all of a sudden it's gotten really hot in this room, and it's my own personal issue, okay? I'm sure there's a few of you that join me in this time of life and get to endure these wonderful things. Okay, so I am going to, I don't like really dipping out of the jar all the time, or the can. So I'm gonna pull some paint to just a foam plate, and hopefully I've got enough here. So I'm gonna go ahead. Hi, Laura. Oh, yeah, I hate my hot flashes too. Some days are better than others, but yeah. The only thing I can tell you is I've been trying peppermint lately, okay, from essential oils, and peppermint seems to help, but guess what? I don't have peppermint back here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring the camera back down so you guys can see what I'm doing. And let's hope and pray that we don't get any color on this cute top that I got on, okay? And I'm gonna try to do this in an angle that you guys can see. I'm gonna make sure I got the paint up there so I don't lean into anything. And I'm trying to do this, like I said, in an angle that you guys can see it better, okay? This is normally not the direction I'd be painting, okay? Because this is kind of backwards for me. But you just want to try to keep a nice straight edge going, okay? And however you can do that. And like I said, if you like doing an artist brush like I do, if not, definitely try the foam brush, okay? And let's see if I can get that on there. Okay, so this is something that's not done really fast, okay? You're definitely going to take more time painting the rim versus painting the base, because now, like I said, we have to cut that one edge. Okay, this is a little bit easier direction for me, okay? It's funny, to this afternoon, I think some of the guys are in the warehouse next to me because I can hear their music. I bet you guys can't hear it, but I can hear it. So they must be rocking out over there this afternoon. So what is everybody working on? I know it's only around a little after 2 o'clock here today, but what all are you guys doing? Where do you purchase the pots? The pots themselves, you know, I just go get them at Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, wherever, your garden section. They normally always have this size. Trying to think, it's Home Depot that is the closest to me. So that is the one I have a tendency to go to. But any of those places will normally have the Terra Cotta Pots, okay? And I'm just trying to not ruin the other side as I keep going around here, because you want to have something for the pot to be resting on to keep it steady, so that you can try to keep that nice edge, okay, if you can. And there's a lot of my friends that prefer the foam brushes. So you noticed, you guys, it's kind of hard to talk and try to paint a straight line at the same time. Black and green challenge. Ooh, that would be cool. So yeah, right now, oh yes, I haven't done a black base coat in a long time. That would be really cool. Let's see. Okay, I don't know if I missed any questions, you guys, because I really do have like my head down, and I'm trying hard to impress you guys by painting a nice straight line, okay? And if by chance it's totally off, okay, I have gotten out some Q-tips and some water and have tried to clean them up before, and it works pretty good because this is the chalk paint. So that is going to be helpful also, instead of working with an acrylic and trying to clean up any edge that maybe is not perfect, okay? So I think I'm doing okay here. And as you can see, I like pulling the color down to the inside as well. So if I was going to be using this to plant in, then the dirt would be coming up to about that level, so that you don't have to worry about painting the completely down to the inside. Now, I mentioned earlier that I have used these for like serving purposes. They're really cute at the dining room table, and if I'm going to use it for that type of stuff, or I'm going to use it for a catch-all in the bathroom or the kitchen or wherever I'm going to use it, I'll paint all the way in, okay? So I will cover all the terracotta at that point. So depending on your purpose, if I planned on planting in here, I don't see any reason to paint all the way down, but if I'm going to use it for a catch-all container, I'm going to use it as even a gift basket, which is really fun to do a themed gift basket and put all your goodies in here and wrap the whole thing up. I mean, there's so many options of using these for. I think I've done everything with them. But if I am going to use it for like at the dining room table, like I said, I'm going to paint it all the way in, and then I normally just grab some great fun napkins, line it with the napkins, and I'll put bread rolls and stuff like that inside, and that'll just keep them a little bit warmer, and it's something cute. Or I've also put cookies, different types of stuff like that in them, but I normally do line them with a napkin first, okay? So I've got that painted, the top rim, okay? And again, this has to completely dry before I can go forward. So I'm going to set this down and allow that to dry. And as that's drying, I can always hit it with a blow dryer if I need to speed things up. Okay, so I got my paint and water. I'm going to shut my can. I'm going to keep all the paint away from me. And then just kind of show you guys a few of the different patterns, which are so fun. Now, this right here is a bag of them, okay? I have taught classes with these, so we have multiple copies of like each one of them available to use in a class. I must have probably maybe 25 or 30 different patterns. So there's a ton of different patterns to choose from. And then it's even fun kind of mixing things together. And I'm finding one here. It's a cute little ladybug. It's if I can find both parts. Okay, I do. So this is like a little tiny ladybug pattern, okay? They're cute little ladybugs, and it's kind of fun to combine something like this with even other designs, so you can do a lot of mix and match too. So you don't have to just use one particular pattern. I think it's kind of fun to do the mix and match. Okay, and let's see how we're doing dry-wise over here, because I definitely want to show you guys some stenciling, okay? And I think I'm going to use that little one. I think I'm just in a red mood right now. So almost all the ones I had out were strawberries, and then I have cherries Jubilee out. Okay, I got stuff sitting on everything. Okay, so I got a cherry pattern out. So you can definitely tell I was in a red mood when I was figuring this whole little fun project out. Okay, but we gotta wait. We gotta wait till things are dry before I can actually start to show you. So I'm gonna hit this one with a blow dryer real quick. So sorry for the noise, guys. Okay, that wasn't awful, was it? Okay, so I'm going to start on this one, even though the rim's not done. Okay, I can always paint the rim later. And let the other one completely dry, just so you guys can see how things are positioned. Okay, so the overlays are numbered, and they'll be somewhere cut into the Mylar itself, so it'd be hard to ever see that on the camera. But you want to start with number 1. And I just use some good old blue tape. So I'm just going to tear off a couple of pieces of tape and put the tape on either end. And then I'll show you one of my little tricks, okay? So overlay 1 is only showing you part of the pattern. It's not showing you the complete pattern. So if you put overlay number 2 on top, okay, now you can start to see the entire design, and you'll know where all the design elements are going to fit. So when I'm positioning things, I like to see the whole picture, okay, of where everything is going to fit, and make sure I'm happy with that. And that way when I tape down the tape on the sides, I can lift off overlay number 2. Everything is positioned, okay? So I don't have to worry about anything at this point. So I've got my 3 little ladybugs, and these other little circles are just little tiny flowers, okay? And let's see, I didn't bring all my colors. Okay, I thought I was doing cherries, and I changed my mind to ladybugs, so I am gonna have to go grab a couple more colors eventually. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to a craft acrylic for the stenciling. And you guys, you could use some of the DIY paint for stenciling as well, okay? I have definitely used some of the DIY paint to stencil with. Okay, let's get a nice new brush, okay? And I am using stencil brushes. And I'm gonna also put a little bit of what's called extender on the plate, okay? It's completely clear, so you'll never be able to probably see that, but what it is called extender. This is again by Deco Art. Just helps to extend the drying time of the paint so that when you are doing a dry brush technique, just kind of helps the paints stay, I want to say the word wetter, okay, but that's kind of sounds weird. They'll stay smoother as you're painting with them instead of getting really dry and chalky on you, okay? Hello, Carrie. Thanks for joining. Happy Tuesday to you also. So anytime you see a paint, let's see if I can put the camera down a little bit more. When I put it out, it just puddled, okay? It was pretty thick. It didn't move much. So adding a little bit of extender to that would actually be a good thing, because it's going to help that paint move smoother when I'm trying to use it. So once I take a couple seconds here and I'm working that paint into my brush, then we're going to go over to the paper towel and we're going to offload it all, okay? And you want to make this seem like it's ridiculous, because otherwise your brush is going to have too much paint, it's going to be wet, and it'll bleed underneath your stencil. And we don't want any of that, okay? So once I know that I've gotten all the paint off, or what seems like all the paint, look how much paint's still there, you guys. I'm going to use that same circular motion, and I'm going to go around the outside edge of the opening. And that way I can kind of shade the outside a little bit darker than the inside, okay? Just leaving it a little bit lighter towards the inside so that your ladybugs have a little bit of dimension to them, okay? But this stenciling technique, you guys, is valid for any particular stencil that you're working with, no matter how sophisticated or how simple, okay? So even though I'm doing a fun little flower pot project, okay, that's a lot of P's, the same technique is valid on anything. So if I was doing something quite more sophisticated, I still would be doing a dry brush, okay? I have to be loading it on, taking it off, and still using my circular motion. And I love working around the outside edge because that way I can get some shading, okay? So even though they're simple little objects, okay, they at least have a little bit of shading to them. Now I have to go grab, okay, I'm finally gonna have to get up and go grab a couple more colors. Sorry guys, but I changed my mind after I started this. I should have stayed with cherries and I would have been okay. So let's see, I need a black, and let's see, I found a black, oh, not much in there, found another black, and I need a flower color. So let's see, what did we find here? That's a colossal handle. Ooh, flower color. Okay, we gotta find something quick here. Okay, I got something called turquoise blue. Let's see how pretty this is. So I got my black and I got my flower color. Sorry guys. That's what happens when you change your mind after you start at something. And I'm gonna give this a good shake because I know it's probably been sitting for a while, but again, I'm just using the Americana Craft acrylics, and this is just called turquoise blue. So we'll see how pretty it is. It's kind of blue. Doesn't look so turquoise to me. I would like to see things a little bit greener than that. But I'm going to use this color to do the simple little flowers. And again, I'm still working around the outside edge, trying to get a little bit of shading until all the objects that I've got to paint, okay? I feel that when you look at a stencil and you determine that you've got all these openings and you determine what the openings are, sometimes you have to look at all your overlays before you can actually figure out what some of the openings are on a stencil pattern. Always try to kind of change your mindset. That don't act like, oh my gosh, I got to fill all those holes in. Look at it that you're painting, okay? You're painting that opening, and that opening happens to be a flower. So if I can get a little shading and dimension into even a little circular flower, the whole project is just going to be prettier, okay? Instead of trying to fill the hole in and make it dark and one-dimensional, there's not going to be any interest or dimension to it. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. I'm going to take my tape off, okay, carefully. And I've got one part of the stencil done, okay. Now, you don't have to do it this way, but I kind of recommend going from overlay number 1 to number 2 before you continue with number 1, okay? Because, like I said, until you have all the parts of each overlay, you might not know how close to put something over here because you don't see that part of the design on the first overlay. Now there's a couple of ways you can line things up. The stencil does come with registration marks, so you can mark those, or you can just kind of eyeball things as you're positioning, okay? And let's see, I think I need to be a tiny bit up on that one. Okay, so this overlay is going to give me more detail to my little ladybugs and the center to my flowers. So let's get a black out for this. And again, you guys, if you have any questions, hello Charlotte, thanks for joining. Let me know. So this is that was one of the easiest ways to line up your overlay. Okay, we're trying so hard to stay clean, and I'm not doing very good. The other little trick that I used to do, or I still do, is I'll line up the overlays together with putting number 1 on top, okay? And that way you can see through the openings that you've already painted and make sure everything is lined up. And then number 1 will be underneath. So there's a couple of ways to do it, okay? Basic scenario is you want to make sure that you are lining everything up and that everything is in the correct position. Okay, so here we're going to have the Ladybug Antennas. Oh, these suckers are so cute, okay? And all the little dots. They're very, very, very whimsical, but you know, there's that whimsy side of me. I just love to do some fun stuff like that. So I'm going to go through here and get everything painted black. That needs to be painted black, okay? And because we're not loading much product onto our brush and we're taking all of it off, with the art form, okay, of stenciling and doing it in dry brush technique, you are going to be loading your brush a lot, you guys, okay? So don't worry about that. It's just the process of loading, offloading, and then painting. And if you don't offload well, do you guys all know what's going to happen? So somebody tell me what they know is going to happen, okay? It's just the sad thing when you're not dry brushing with stenciling, you're going to end up bleeding underneath, okay? Nobody wants to see that, okay? That's just not attractive stenciling. So let's see what we've got here. And let's unveil. I'm trying to grab that edge of the tape. Okay, now isn't that just stinking cute, you guys? Those are just adorable. Hello, Sylvia. Thanks for joining. Okay, now at this point, we can continue. Okay, we're going to go back to overlay number 1, and I'm going to put that one down first. So that one's on the bottom, okay? And I've stacked overlay number 2 over the top. And then when I'm positioning, I can see where all the parts are going, okay? So I know how close to move this little ladybug to the flower, okay? If I didn't have the second overlay, I could possibly get that too tight and his head would be over a flower. So this gives me better spacing so that I know where everything is going to land on this particular design. And that way just keep number 1 in position and remove overlay number 2 and you're ready to go again, okay? Oh yes, it's cuteness, cuteness. It's exploding with cuteness, okay? These are just fun to do. And if you get a chance to go onto the website, I mean, there's everything, okay? From something that's really, really, really cute like this to, this is one of my, I think this was just called Bella Flourish, okay? So we have things that are a lot more sophisticated if you were trying to do something on the more sophisticated side instead of doing thing that's just totally, totally cute, okay? But cute was what I had in mind for this particular project. Once all your stenciling is done and all your painting is done, you guys, you want to seal the pots, okay? Completely seal the pots, no matter what you're doing, okay? I'm going to bring the camera back up here so I can see you guys. So even if I'm going to be painting the inside completely and I'm going to use it for a container or in my kitchen, or I didn't paint the inside, okay, and I'm going to use it to plant, and here as a terracotta pot, 100% coverage of your top coat. The terracotta can never breathe again, okay? If you do not seal the inside, it's going to soak all the water in. It's going to want to push it out, okay? Push out, which means it's going to want to push all your paint off. So make sure that you seal it 100% completely. And I normally put a couple of coats of varnish on them. And that way, you're definitely not going to ruin your paint job at all. So if you guys have any questions, or need some help with a fun little cute project or need some more ideas, I've got them in my head somewhere, okay? But thank you guys for joining me. I'll put some links in here if you guys are interested in checking out the flower pots or checking out the stencil brushes. And like I said, just go find your terracotta pots at your local Home Depot, Lowe's, or Target. And I think that's about it. Keep it simple, have fun with it, and make sure to share your projects with me, okay? We'd love to see them. We'll share and post them on my Facebook page and tag you, so you'll get recognition for your work. You guys have a blessed day. Thanks for joining me, and I'll try to be back again tomorrow or Thursday. So we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.